Beloved one, pause for a moment. Before you scroll, before your mind rushes to the next distraction, listen carefully. Something in your life right now is not what it appears to be. You may have tried to dismiss the feeling. You may have told yourself you were overthinking. But the quiet disturbance in your spirit was not imagination. It was awareness. There are moments when heaven interrupts the noise of ordinary life to warn a soul that something hidden is moving too close. This is one of those moments. Have you noticed the subtle shift around you lately? A strange tension in certain conversations. A look that lingers a little too long. Words that sound supportive but somehow leave an uncomfortable echo in your mind hours later. These signals are easy to ignore because they are rarely loud. They arrive quietly, almost politely, disguised as normal interactions. Yet your inner awareness keeps whispering that something does not fully align. That gentle discomfort you felt, it did not come from nowhere. This is not coincidence. Life is full of random events, but discernment rarely appears randomly. Many people spend years learning to ignore their intuition, especially when the person involved is familiar or close. But there is a reason your attention keeps returning to the same small moments. The strange comment that felt slightly off. The smile that did not reach the eyes. The subtle way someone asks questions about your plans, your progress, your next move. These things seem insignificant individually, but together they form a pattern. Psychologists often observe an interesting truth about human perception. Studies suggest that nearly 70% of people who sense hidden hostility or manipulation in their environment eventually discover their instincts were correct. The human mind is capable of detecting small behavioral inconsistencies long before conscious logic catches up. Your spirit notices tone changes, body language shifts, and subtle emotional signals that words alone cannot hide. That uneasy feeling was not paranoia. It was perception working quietly beneath the surface. Think about a situation many people experience without realizing its deeper meaning. Perhaps at work there is someone who frequently congratulates you on your progress, yet somehow your opportunities become strangely complicated after those conversations. Or maybe in your social circle there is someone who appears supportive when others are present but subtly discourages you when you speak privately. Sometimes it happens even within families, a relative who constantly asks about your plans, your finances, your goals, yet their reactions never fully feel like genuine celebration. On the outside, nothing looks clearly wrong. That is why the mind tries to dismiss the signals. After all, the person smiles. They speak kindly. They remain close. But discernment does not operate through obvious betrayal. It begins with quiet awareness. Small contradictions. Moments where words and energy do not match. And if you are honest with yourself, beloved one, there have already been moments when your spirit paused around this person. Moments when something inside you said, "Be careful." You brushed the thought aside because you did not want to assume the worst. That is natural. Kind hearts often give others the benefit of the doubt. But awareness exists for a reason. Because sometimes the most important warnings do not arrive as loud alarms. They arrive as gentle disturbances in the soul, subtle, persistent, impossible to completely ignore. And the unsettling truth is this. The person I am referring to is someone you have already trusted. Beloved one, the person you sensed is not openly hostile. If they were, recognizing the danger would have been easy. The real complexity lies in the mask they wear. On the surface, they appear supportive. They smile when you speak about your progress. They say things that sound encouraging. They may even defend you in conversations when others are present. To anyone observing from the outside, they seem like someone who is clearly on your side. But hidden beneath that appearance is a subtle contradiction that your spirit has already noticed. This type of person rarely attacks directly. Instead, they operate through passive sabotage. Their words are carefully balanced so they never appear negative, yet they slowly weaken your confidence or delay your progress. For example, when you share a new idea or opportunity, they might respond with something like, "That sounds amazing, but are you sure it's the right time?" On the surface, the statement sounds concerned and reasonable. Yet the underlying message plants hesitation in your mind. Another common pattern is fake encouragement. They praise you in public but subtly question you in private. Imagine someone saying, "You're doing great, everyone can see that," while later adding quietly, "Just be careful, people might start getting jealous." That type of comment seems protective, but it quietly shifts your attention toward fear instead of growth. The mask remains friendly, but the effect slowly disrupts your confidence. This behavior often appears in everyday environments. In workplaces, it can look like a colleague who compliments your success while quietly withholding information that would help you move forward. In friend groups, it may be the person who celebrates your achievements in public yet subtly changes the subject whenever you discuss your future plans. Sometimes it even happens within families, someone who constantly asks about your next step, your goals, your progress, but reacts with an unusual silence or hesitation whenever you actually begin moving closer to them. Psychologists recognize this pattern as a form of social manipulation through proximity. People who feel threatened by someone's growth often choose to remain close rather than distant. Distance removes their influence. But closeness allows them to monitor, influence, and subtly redirect the other person's decisions. It is not always done with loud jealousy. Often it appears through small behavioral patterns that accumulate over time. Research in human relationships reveals something striking. Studies suggest that nearly 60% of betrayals or hidden opposition come from people within one's inner circle. Not strangers. Not distant acquaintances. But individuals who have already earned trust, access, and familiarity. That reality is uncomfortable, which is why many people ignore early warning signs. Accepting it requires confronting the possibility that someone who appears supportive may actually be struggling internally with your progress. And that internal struggle is exactly why they remain close. They observe your direction. They listen to your plans. They gather small pieces of information that allow them to influence situations quietly without appearing responsible for any disruption. Every question they ask seems harmless. Every conversation appears normal. Yet slowly, subtly, they position themselves where they can see everything that happens in your life. But here is what many people fail to realize. This situation has never been hidden from the eyes of heaven. Every conversation. Every moment where their words sounded supportive but carried a different intention beneath the surface. Every quiet attempt to discourage or redirect you. Nothing has gone unnoticed. And the reason this person stayed so close to you is far more disturbing than simple jealousy. And heaven has been watching every moment. Beloved one, while you were trying to make sense of the subtle tension around you, heaven was already fully aware of it. Nothing that unfolds in the shadows escapes divine attention. The quiet conversations, the hidden motives behind certain words, the moments when someone smiled outwardly while carrying something entirely different in their heart, all of it has been seen. You may have wondered why certain situations in your life changed unexpectedly. Why some plans suddenly shifted. Why certain conversations were interrupted or certain opportunities moved in a different direction than you expected. At the time, it may have felt confusing. But often what appears as disruption is actually protection unfolding quietly. There is a reason sacred wisdom reminds us of this truth in Psalm 121 verse 7, "The Lord will keep you from all harm, He will watch over your life." Notice what that promise implies. Protection does not always arrive after harm occurs. Often it works beforehand, quietly redirecting events so that the harm never fully reaches you. Think about moments in your life where something felt strangely delayed or blocked. Perhaps you planned to share an important idea but suddenly changed your mind at the last moment. Maybe you almost revealed a personal plan, yet something inside told you to remain silent. Or there were times when a conversation ended unexpectedly before you could say more. At the time, those moments may have seemed insignificant. But sometimes those pauses are exactly where protection was placed. The reality is that hidden opposition rarely exists in isolation. It is part of a deeper spiritual tension that unfolds whenever someone begins moving toward purpose, growth, or transformation. Not everyone celebrates that movement. Some people feel threatened by it, even if they never say it directly. Their reactions remain subtle, masked by friendliness or curiosity. This is why wisdom warns about the nature of hidden intentions. Proverbs 26 verses 24 to 25 explains it clearly, "Enemies disguise themselves with their lips, but in their hearts they harbor deceit. Though their speech is charming, do not believe them." These words are not meant to create fear, but awareness. Because discernment protects you from trusting appearances alone. And when opposition rises, protection rises with it. Another promise echoes through Isaiah 54 verse 17, declaring, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." Notice the wording carefully. The verse does not say weapons will never be formed. It says they will not ultimately succeed. That means attempts may occur. Intentions may exist. But the final outcome remains under divine authority. When you look back honestly, there have already been moments where something that could have harmed you somehow failed to unfold completely. Information you almost shared never left your mouth. A conversation that could have exposed your plans suddenly shifted direction. A situation that looked risky quietly dissolved before it reached you. These were not random accidents. Protection was already moving ahead of you. And the one who watches over your life has also been observing the person who stands closest to the situation. Their words. Their reactions. The subtle ways they try to stay connected to your progress. But what shocks many chosen souls when the truth finally surfaces is this. The name of this person has already come dangerously close to being revealed. Beloved one, by now you may be realizing something important. This message was never meant to make you suspicious of everyone around you. It was meant to awaken something inside you, discernment. Because the truth is, this moment is not only about the person hiding behind a mask. It is also about you recognizing the awareness that has been quietly growing within you. There is a reason you noticed the small inconsistencies others overlooked. A reason certain conversations felt slightly uncomfortable even when nothing obvious was wrong. Not everyone detects those signals. Many people ignore them until damage is already done. But you paused. You sensed something deeper beneath the surface. That awareness is not weakness. It is wisdom beginning to rise. This is where the shift happens. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" the question becomes, "What am I being shown?" Because when discernment begins to awaken, certain patterns become easier to recognize. The person hiding behind friendliness cannot maintain the mask perfectly. Small cracks eventually appear. One of the most common signs is an energy shift. You may notice that your conversations feel different depending on who is present. In public settings they appear encouraging and supportive. But when the conversation becomes private, something changes. Their tone becomes cautious, probing, or strangely curious about details that do not truly concern them. Another sign appears through fake praise. They celebrate your progress loudly when others are watching, but their enthusiasm fades quickly when the conversation moves away from an audience. Compliments become short. Reactions become quiet. Sometimes they change the subject entirely. The mask remains polite, but the energy behind it no longer feels aligned with genuine support. Then there is a more subtle behavior many people overlook: information fishing. They ask repeated questions about your plans, your next steps, your ideas, or the timing of your decisions. On the surface it sounds like interest. But over time you may notice that they rarely share the same level of openness about their own intentions. The conversation slowly becomes one-sided, you revealing more while they continue gathering pieces of information. Psychologists have studied this pattern closely. Research suggests that manipulative individuals mirror the behavior and language of those around them nearly 80% of the time in order to gain trust. They adapt their tone, interests, and opinions to match yours. This creates a false sense of connection that allows them to stay close without revealing their true motives. This is why awareness must now turn into practical wisdom. Discernment does not require confrontation. In fact, wisdom often moves quietly. You do not need to reveal every plan, every idea, or every step of your journey to everyone around you. Some things are meant to develop privately until the time is right. Protecting your direction is not secrecy, it is maturity. Begin practicing emotional boundaries. Notice who genuinely celebrates your growth without hesitation. Notice who asks questions but never contributes support. Pay attention to who feels energized by your progress and who becomes strangely distant when you begin moving forward. And most importantly, observe without rushing to accuse. Truth reveals itself far more clearly when patience is present. Masks are difficult to maintain forever. Because something is already unfolding behind the scenes. A moment is approaching when the difference between appearance and reality will become impossible to hide. Because something is about to happen that will expose what words never could. Beloved one, the moment of truth does not always arrive with loud confrontation. Often it appears quietly, through a small event that suddenly makes everything clear. A conversation where someone reveals more than they intended. A reaction that exposes hidden frustration. A situation where their actions no longer match the mask they carefully maintained. When that moment comes, you will recognize it immediately, because all the small signals you noticed before will suddenly connect like pieces of a puzzle. What once felt confusing will begin to make sense. You will remember the subtle comments. The strange hesitation when you spoke about your progress. The questions that seemed harmless at the time. And in that moment you will realize something powerful: your awareness was never wrong. Your spirit noticed what your mind had not yet fully understood. But here is the deeper truth you must hold on to. You were never left unprotected. Even while someone stood near you carrying hidden intentions, your path was still being watched over. There were conversations that never reached the wrong ears. Plans you almost revealed but somehow kept to yourself. Situations that could have complicated your life but quietly dissolved before they could take shape. What felt like coincidence was often protection working silently ahead of you. This is why your story is not about betrayal. It is about preservation. Because when someone attempts to move close with the wrong intentions, the response of heaven is not panic, it is protection. The purpose placed within you is not fragile. It does not collapse because someone secretly doubts you or quietly resents your progress. Instead, those moments become opportunities for discernment to grow stronger inside you. And now that awareness has awakened, you will move differently. Not with fear, but with wisdom. Not with suspicion toward everyone, but with clarity about who truly celebrates your growth and who merely watches it. Take a quiet moment right now. Allow your mind to become still, and let this prayer settle into your spirit. May your heart be guarded with wisdom. May your path remain protected from hidden harm. May every mask that stands near your life lose its power to deceive you. And may discernment continue to guide your steps so that no hidden intention can disrupt the purpose placed within you. Let every plan meant to slow you lose its influence. Let every shadow around your path be replaced with clarity. And let the peace that comes from divine protection settle deeply within your life from this moment forward. If this message resonated with something you have quietly felt, pause for a moment and acknowledge it. Awareness grows stronger when it is recognized. You can even declare it boldly, because words have power when spoken with intention. Type, "I walk in divine discernment." And if this message helped bring clarity to your spirit, take a moment to support this channel so more people who need this kind of encouragement can find it. A simple like, subscribing, or sharing this message with someone who might need discernment today helps these words reach the right hearts at the right time. Because when truth finally exposes the mask, you will understand why this message had to reach you tonight.